I never imagined a simple dinner conversation could change everything. The candlelight flickered, casting soft shadows across the room as the scent of freshly baked bread filled the air. It was supposed to be a normal evening, just my husband and me sharing a quiet moment together. But then, he said something that made my heart stop. "I want us to try something different," he said, his voice careful, almost hesitant at first. I thought he meant a new vacation spot or a surprise getaway. But when his eyes locked onto mine, I knew this was something else, something deeper. His next words sent a chill down my spine. "I want you to spend a night with someone else." I let out a nervous laugh, hoping it was a joke. But it wasn't. His expression remained serious, his fingers fidgeting with his fork, as if he were bracing for my reaction. My stomach twisted. Was this a test? A game? Or had I missed something in our marriage? I searched his face for answers, but all I found was expectation. He had already thought this through. And then, he told me about him. A man tall, confident, undeniably attractive. A complete stranger. My mind raced. Why would my husband want this? Was it some kind of twisted fantasy? Or was there more to the story than he was letting on? What started as an unusual request turned into something I never could have predicted. And as I sat there, heart pounding, one thing became clear: I wasn't prepared for what was about to happen. The night that followed changed everything. I lay, awake, staring at the ceiling, while my husband slept soundly beside me, as if he hadn't just upended our world. My mind spiraled with questions I couldn't answer. Was this really just a fantasy? Or was there something deeper he wasn't telling me? Days passed in uneasy silence. He acted as if everything was normal, but I felt the shift. Every touch, every glance, every moment between us was different now, tainted by the weight of that conversation. Then, one evening, as I stood at the sink washing dishes, he came up behind me, resting his hands on my shoulders. "Have you thought about it?" he asked, his voice soft but insistent. I set the plate down, gripping the counter. "How do you expect me to even consider this?" he sighed, running a hand through his hair. "I just want us to experience something new. It doesn't change what we have." But didn't it? I wanted to believe this was just a fleeting thought, something he'd forget. But he hadn't. And then, the next day, he took it a step further. I was thinking we could meet him first. Just talk. Nothing has to happen. I should have said no. I should have walked away. Instead, I heard myself whisper the one word that would change everything. "Okay." The doorbell rang. My breath caught in my throat. My husband shot me a reassuring smile, but it did little to calm the unease twisting in my stomach. This was real now. No longer just a conversation. No longer just an idea. He walked to the door, his steps slow and deliberate, like he had rehearsed this moment in his mind over and over. I remained frozen on the couch, my hands clasped tightly together. The door creaked open, and for the first time, I saw him. He was taller than I had imagined, his presence filling the space like a force of nature. His dark eyes swept over the room before settling on me. There was something unreadable in his gaze. He smiled, not just a polite gesture, something deeper, something knowing. "Welcome," my husband said, extending a hand. The man shook it firmly, but his attention never left me. I forced a polite smile, my heart pounding. "Nice to meet you," I murmured. He stepped inside, his movements smooth, almost calculated. My husband poured drinks, chatting easily, but I could barely focus on his words. The conversation started light work, travel, things that should have made this moment feel normal. But there was nothing normal about it. Then, my husband stood, stretching casually. "I'll let you to talk for a bit," he said. I turned to him sharply. "Wait, where are you going?" "Just for a moment," he assured me with a small smile. "You'll be fine." And before I could stop him, he was gone. The air in the room felt heavier. I sat frozen as the man settled into the chair across from me. He was calm. Too calm. "You look nervous," he said, his voice deep. Smooth. I forced a breath. I just wasn't expecting my husband to leave. He chuckled, tilting his head. I think he wanted to give us time to get comfortable. The words sent a shiver through me. I glanced toward the hallway, expecting my husband to return, to end this, but the house remained eerily quiet. "Why do you think he wanted this?" the man asked, leaning forward. I hesitated. "I don't know." He nodded, as if he already expected that answer. "And what about you?" he pressed. "Why did you say yes?" I opened my mouth, but I didn't have an answer. Had I agreed because I wanted to understand my husband? Because I was afraid of what would happen if I refused? Or was there a part of me when I didn't recognize that had been curious before I could find the right words? He stood up. I tensed. My body stiffened as he took a slow step toward me. "Relax," he said. "I'm not here to make you uncomfortable." But I was uncomfortable. Every instinct in me screamed that something wasn't right. I forced a tight smile and glanced toward the hallway again. I think I should check on my husband. His expression didn't change, but there was a flicker of something sharp in his eyes. "You trust him, don't you?" The question caught me off guard. "Of course I do," I said. He smiled again, but this time it wasn't friendly. "Then why do you look so afraid?" The walls felt like they were closing in. My phone buzzed on the table. Beside me, my husband's name. A message. "I need to tell you something. Please don't freak out." My breath caught. I looked up at the man, my vision blurring at the edges. My hands trembled as I unlocked my phone. "What is it?" 3 dots appeared, then disappeared. The silence stretched. The man tilted his head as if waiting for me to figure it out. Then finally, the reply came. "I lied to you." My stomach twisted. "About what?" I typed. A pause. Then "He's not a stranger." The world tilted beneath me. I looked up at the man, dread creeping up my spine. He smirked. Not in amusement, not in kindness. In victory. And in that moment, I realized this wasn't just about one night. It had never been about me at all.